All right, today we're going to dive into a really big transformation. How we're moving our data automation from an old school system, think SSIS and links, into a modern cloud-native solution using AWS Glue. Let's get into how this changes pretty much everything.
This isn't just a simple tech upgrade. At its heart, this is about flipping our entire philosophy on data. We're moving away from a passive system that's just constantly waiting around for work to do, to a system that's active, that's intelligent, and that jumps into action the very second it's needed.
So here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll look at our current system. Then, we'll introduce the modern solution with AWS Glue. We'll also cover the smarter workflows and unlocks, the whole new cost model, the dashboard we've built, and finally, what our fully modernized future is going to look like.
Okay, so to really appreciate where we're going, we first have to get a clear picture of where we are right now. Let's take a look at the before picture, our current automation system.
Right now, our automation is kind of pieced together with a few different legacy tools. We've got SSIS jobs running scheduled integrations, links workflows that go out and grab files, a Stadium front end for users to interact with, and the Glue holding it all together? A bunch of shared folders that act as drop zones for data. I mean, it works, but it's built on a foundation that has some serious limitations. And this really gets to the heart of the difference. Our old system is totally server-bound. It's tied to machines. That means it needs a lot of manual monitoring, and it comes with fixed costs, whether it's doing anything or not. The modern system we're moving to, it's serverless, it's automated, and you only pay for what you actually use.
All right, enough about the old way. Let's turn to the solution. It's time to introduce the real hero of our story, AWS Glue. This is our modern, cloud-native replacement for all those legacy tools.
So, what exactly is AWS Glue? Well, put simply, it's a fully managed serverless engine that automates data workflows. And that word, serverless, is so important here. It means we can just forget about managing the underlying servers. No more patching, no more making sure they're running 24/7. It's all handled for us. Let's look at a classic example from our current world. A lot of our jobs play what I like to call the folder watcher waiting game. They're stuck in this constant loop, checking a folder every single minute, asking, is there a file yet? No? Okay, I'll wait. How about now? Still no? It is incredibly inefficient. Now look at the contrast here. We're completely replacing that endless, wasteful check, wait, repeat loop. Now we have an event-driven model. The moment a file lands in its S3 bucket, which is just like a folder in the cloud, bam, it instantly triggers the process. There's no waiting, no wasted cycles, it just happens. And this is what that new flow looks like in action. A file lands in S3, that event immediately kicks off an AWS Glue job. That job does its magic, transforms and cleans the data. The clean output gets written back to another spot in S3, which can then automatically trigger anything else that needs to happen downstream. It's just a clean, automated chain reaction.
But here's the thing. This move to Glue isn't just about swapping out old jobs for new ones. It's really about unlocking a whole new set of capabilities that let us build workflows that are smarter, faster, and way more resilient. For example, we get true event-driven processing. We can run multiple jobs at the same time in parallel, which just slashes our processing times. Glue can even automatically figure out the structure of our data, which means way less manual setup. We can even let users query the data directly with simple SQL using a tool called Athena. And if anything ever goes wrong, notifications get sent out automatically.
And the best part? All of this has monitoring baked right in with a tool called AWS CloudWatch. We get detailed logs, we get metrics, we can set up alarms, and we don't have to configure some separate manual system to do it. So all these new features are fantastic, right? But that leads to one of the most important questions. What about the cost? So let's talk about the pay-for-use model and why this new way of doing things is actually cheaper. This table just lays it all out, nice and clear. For infrastructure, we go from paying for Windows servers 24/7 to only paying for the exact seconds of compute we use. For licensing, those expensive SQL Server licenses, gone, not needed anymore. But the biggest difference here is idle time. In the old system, you pay for it constantly. With AWS Glue, the cost of idle time is zero. And this is the big one. This is the real game changer. If no files arrive and no jobs are running, the cost is nothing. Zero. We are no longer paying for expensive resources to just sit there and wait. For any workflow that isn't running constantly, this is a huge deal for efficiency.
Now, having all this power under the hood is great, but what about for our users, for our business teams? We need a user-friendly way for them to see what's going on. That's where our new dashboard comes in, putting visibility and control right in their hands.
So, we've built a custom, user-friendly dashboard that acts as a single pane of glass. Basically, it's one central, easy-to-use place to see everything that's happening with our data pipelines. From this dashboard, you can see the real-time status of every single job. You can look through the complete history of every run. You can see any alerts or errors that pop up. You can even track how much data is being processed and take a look at the output files themselves. But it's not just for looking. You can actually do things. If you need to, you can manually kick off a job. You can dive into the detailed logs if you're troubleshooting. You can view the transformed data, and you can track a file's journey from the very beginning to the very end. It's all about giving you both visibility and control. And of course, this is all locked down and secure. We use a service called Amazon Cognito, which just means that every single person has the right permissions and they can only see and do what they're supposed to.
So, let's bring it all together. What does this fully modernized future, this after a picture, actually look like for us? Our new reality is a totally serverless system with automated flows that react instantly. We get much faster processing because we can run things in parallel. We have an intuitive dashboard for our teams, and we can scale our analytics whenever we need to. And, maybe best of all, zero server maintenance to worry about. This is the modern, efficient data platform we've been working toward.
And really, that brings us to the final thought here. Making this shift ensures our data architecture is absolutely ready for the future. So, the question I want to leave you with is this. Is yours?